China's worst heat wave in 60 years is forcing factories to close. Much of the US will be an extreme heat belt by the 2050s. Full-scale nuclear war could kill 5 billion people. China shocks with rate cut as data shows alarming slowdown. Russia's crude shipments to Asia tumbled to post-invasion low. Putin's panic-stricken officials in secret bid to end bloody war in Ukraine. Spaghetti sauce is under threat as water crisis slams tomatoes. India could emerge as Asia's strongest economy in 2022 to 2023.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It is Wednesday, August 17th, and here are your top stories. China's Sichuan province has ordered all factories to shut down for 6 days to ease a power shortage in the region as a scorching heat wave sweeps across the country. Sichuan is a key manufacturing location for the semiconductors and solar panel industries. The power rationing will hit factories belonging to some of the world's biggest electronic companies, including Apple supplier Foxconn and Intel. The province is also critical for China's electric car industry as Sichuan is a lithium mining hub, and lithium is a key component in the electric car batteries.
Unusually hot weather buckled roads and drove people to seek the cool wherever they could.
CNN reported, since August 7th, the heat wave in Sichuan has intensified to the most extreme level in 6 decades, and average rainfall has dropped by 51% on year. On Monday, the province's top officials warned that Sichuan is currently facing its most severe and extreme moment in power supply. According to government-run Sichuan Daily, Luzhou, a city in Sichuan, announced last week that it would shut off the city's streetlights at night to conserve power and alleviate pressure on the electricity grid.
Researchers at First Street Foundation found the heat index temperatures by 2053 will hit 52 Celsius at least once a year in a band stretching from Texas to Wisconsin. They predict that in 3 decades, more than 100 million Americans will live in this extreme heat belt. Since it is inland, there are no coastal influence to mitigate extreme temperatures, and many communities are not acclimated to warmer weathers relative to their normal climate. The sharpest heat increase will be felt in Miami-Dade County, Florida.
This burst of heat comes along with a new forecast on how hot days might stack up in a changing climate. As KPIX5's Wilson Walker shows us, heat waves will become more common and problems will follow.
The report said that the recent heat wave in the Pacific Northwest sent almost 1,000 people to the hospital. Power grids shut down, knocking out air conditioning. People experience exhaustion and dehydration as temperatures soar and can even die from heat stroke. But according to the report, across the United States, on average, peak temperatures on the current hottest 7 days per year will turn into 18 days per year in most localities during the 2050s. Americans may look back at the cooling costs from the summer of 2020 as a bargain.
Scientists at Rutgers University claimed a full-scale nuclear war between the US and Russia would wipe out more than half of humanity. 5 billion people would die in a modern nuclear war, with the impact of a global famine, triggered by sunlight-blocking soot in the atmosphere. Deaths due to famine are likely to far exceed the casualty caused by the lethal blast. The estimates were based on calculations of how much soot would enter the atmosphere when firestorms ignited by the detonation of nuclear weapons.
The prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility.
The study suggested that a US-Russia nuclear war could see global food production fall by 90% within 3 to 4 years. Even a relatively small-scale conflict would have devastating consequences for global food production. A localized battle between India and Pakistan would see crop yields decline by an estimated 7% within 5 years. The study's co-author and a professor at Rutgers University, Alan Robach, said, "The data tells us one thing: we must prevent a nuclear war from ever happening."
The media said China's unexpected cut in interest rates is unlikely to turn things around, while a worsening property slump and continued coronavirus lockdowns remain in place. China's economy slowdown deepened in July. while retail sales, industrial outputs, and investments all slowed. The data suggested a crisis of confidence among Chinese businesses and households, adding another threat to the world's economy as global demands for everything from Apple iPhones to luxury goods took a hit.
Growth has been rapid. For years, double digits were the norm. Now, the pace of expansion is slowing down. In the last quarter, GDP rose by 6.2%.
The media reported that China's central bank cut both 1-year and 7-day lending rates by 10 basis points, a move economists said would have little impact since COVID controls have made households and businesses reluctant to borrow. The housing slump worsened in July, with sales falling more than 28% on year and prices declining for an 11th consecutive month. That is rippling through China's industrial sector, with monthly steel production in July reaching the lowest since 2018.
According to Bloomberg, Russia's crude shipment to Asia tumbled in the week ending on August 12th, dropping to their lowest since March. Even if all the crude on ship showing no final destination end up in Asia, the flow would still be the smallest since March. Shipments to Asia have been drifting lower from a plateau of about 2 million barrels a day, which was sustained from mid-April to mid-June. The average flow of Russian crude to Asia fell below 1.75 million barrels a day, down to more than 2.1 million barrels a day in April and May.
Bloomberg said that while cargoes to China and India are down 20% from their post-invasion surge, vessel tracking data and port agent reports show a total of 27 tankers loaded 20 million barrels from the country's export terminals in the week ending on August 12th. That's 5.6 million barrels less than the previous week. Moscow's weekly revenue from export duties fell by $42 million, or 22%, to $145 million. According to calculations by Bloomberg, revenues were the lowest in 7 weeks.
In an exclusive report, the British media outlet, the Daily Mirror, claimed that a highly placed Kremlin official has secretly approached the West to help end the Ukrainian invasion. The secret member of Putin's elite is said to have revealed the Kremlin is in panic and desperate for the bloody war to end. A report said that their approach is likely to have been made to CIA contacts or Western diplomats behind Putin's back. It's not clear whether this report is related to counterintelligence moves by the West.
According to the Daily Mirror, the intel originated from a situation report. The Daily Mirror understands the leaked situation report is being taken seriously by intelligence agencies. The document says, a representative of Putin's inner circle sent a signal to the West about the desire to negotiate. The mood of the Kremlin elite is panic. The amazing claims goes on to label the unnamed Kremlin insider as one of the pillars of the regime. It's also not clear whether the Kremlin is behind the espionage.
The worst drought in 1,200 years is forcing Californian tomato farmers to grapple with a water crisis that's undermining the crop and threatening to further push up prices from salsa to spaghetti sauce. California's restrictions limiting groundwater use and soaring costs for labor, fuel, and fertilizers have cost an acre to grow and harvest a tomato crop from $2,800 to $4,800 within a decade. Moreover, a higher crop value is not enough to overcome current cost challenges.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture data showed that the California crop has been below the recent production peak of 14.4 million tons in 2015 for the past 6 years. 2022 is shaping up to continue the trend, and water availability is the main issue facing producers. The industry expects this year's harvest to fall below the USDA's 11.7 million ton estimate. According to market research firm IRI, the price of tomato sauce in the 4 weeks ending with July 10th is up 17% from a year ago, while ketchup is 23% higher.
Morgan Stanley economists said India could emerge as Asia's strongest economy in 2022 to 2023 as it is best positioned to generate robust domestic demand, helped by economy policy reforms, a younger workforce, and business investments. The company expects India's growth to average 7% from 2022 to 2023 and contribute 28% and 22% to Asian and global growth, respectively. The economist said that the lower corporate taxes, a production-linked incentive scheme, and India as a potential beneficiary of supply chain diversification will catalyze and sustain domestic demand.
Morgan Stanley's projection comes as Asia's third largest economy grew 9.2% in the fiscal year 2022, a sharp recovery from a 6.6% contraction in the previous year as COVID-19 lockdowns took a severe toll on its economy. The country now expects GDP growth for 2022 and 2023 at 8% to 8.5%. While India, like other economies, raised interest rates to battle inflation, Morgan Stanley said the country's $529.7 billion budget for the current fiscal year has continued to tilt towards lifting public investment.
And that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. Let's make every day a fun day. I am Wade Lee, your host, and I'll see you next time.